Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to 845 Sports Nation and Section 9 high school football here in the Hudson Valley. I'm Ed Estrada along with Mr. Ed Diller and Mr. George Diller, bringing you all of the action, and we have a special one in what this year is called Week 0 in New York State high school football. An extra week was allowed this year by the New York State Public High School Athletic Association for teams to schedule additional games, and many of the teams in the Hudson Valley have chosen to go out of section in their opening week. And boy, we have a barn burner for you to open our 2022 high school football season. A game normally seen towards the end of the year in the state playoffs this time happens in Week 0 in 2022 as the Goldbacks of Newburgh Free Academy host the Huguenots of New Rochelle down in Westchester County, representing Section 1. Should have a great football game here as you're watching the Newburgh Free Academy Goldbacks representing Section 9 this evening, getting ready to make their entrance here to Academy Field in Newburgh, New York. A beautiful day, temperatures in the mid-70s, a light breeze, very little humidity here at Academy Field to open up the 2022 season as you see the Goldbacks of Newburgh being announced into Academy Field by public address announcer Mr. Matt Lawrence, who's been a stalwart here with Newburgh Athletics for many decades. Last year, the Goldbacks ended the year with a 10-2 record, making a run representing Section 9 all the way to the state playoffs before they were defeated at Fowler Field in Middletown in the Eastern semis, having lost to a Carmel Rams team that went on to win the state championship. They're announcing now the Newburgh defensive starters. As you take a look at number 1, Xavier Sill, followed by Carl Shaw, the linebacker, number 3. In the secondary, number 6, Nikkei Johnson, making his entrance through the drum line as well as the Newburgh cheerleaders. Bryce Buxton, number 7, next on down the line in the secondary for the Goldbacks, and he'll be followed by the senior, 6', 170 senior Elijah Bevier, number 8. And next up for the Goldbacks, the linebacker, Daryl Jackson, coming in at 6'1", 215 pounds. Some good experience here in the secondary, a senior-laden secondary for the Goldbacks. Number 44, Jack Millen, one of the team captains here for the Goldbacks on the defensive line, being introduced. Coming in at 6 feet even, 225 pounds. Fabian Roden, number 57, also on the line. He's the junior, 6 feet, 240 pounds. Jayshawn Thomas, number 88, the linebacker. 6 foot, 200 pound junior, and coming on down, number 76, Quamir Cueto. Also on the line, he's a 5'10", 210 senior. And finally on the defense for Newburgh, Nathan Scalfari, number 99, on the defensive line. He's a senior, 6 feet, 220 pounds. That's your starting defense for the Goldbacks of Newburgh Free Academy. In a little while, Mr. Lawrence will introduce the team captains and have our coin toss. The captains tonight for the Huguenots will be number 2, the quarterback, senior quarterback, Austin Luzzy. Also on the defensive line, senior captain, number 51, Luis Morales. And finally, senior defensive lineman, number 78, Deshaun Benitez, are the captains for the Huguenots. The captains for Newburgh Free Academy will be Elijah Bevier, number 8, number 44, Jack Millen, number 76, Quamir Cueto. And injured this evening, and we'll get into this a little bit later, number 81, Deandre Johnson, the Newburgh wide receiver, coming in at 6'8", 210 pounds.
And I don't know if you hear him in the background.
Crowd just
Matt
getting.
Lawrence, this is his 30th year.
I said several decades, so I was close.
You were there. You were there. But this is his 30th year on PA for Newburgh Free Academy football.
We also have Raiden Davis coming out as a captain for the coin toss for the Huguenots as the sun begins to set here at Academy Field. This football field runs north and south. To the left is the south side of the field. To the north is on the right side of your screen. Newberg's on the near side, and the Huguenots dressed in white with purple numbers on the far side of the field as the crowd continues to settle in here on opening night of high school football in New York State. The Goldbacks have chosen to play some out-of-section games the first 3 weeks of the season. They'll be playing Kennedy High School out of the Bronx coming up, and I believe also on the schedule maybe Arlington for the Goldbacks. Scratch that there. Week 2 next week, the Goldbacks will be on the road up at Corning, taking on Corning Painted Post. That'll be followed up by their game against Kennedy here at Academy Field. That'll be in 2 weeks before they get into their Section 9 schedule. The Goldbacks begin on the road in Section 9 this year, headed over to Fowler Field to take on Middletown. The expectation this year is for there to be the typical triumvirate in Section 9 football between Monroe-Woodbury, NFA, and Middletown. So Newberg won the toss. They've elected to receive in the second half. So they've deferred it to the Huguenots, who will be receiving the football. So New Rochelle will be headed from your right to your left on your screen when the offense takes the field. And we're going to take a little bit of a break here as the crowd begins to rise for our national anthem. There you have your national anthem here at Academy Field in Newburgh, New York. Friday night football in New York State on Labor Day weekend, and a great matchup. We're going to find out who some of these top teams are as the Goldbacks come over to their fans, cheering them on to try to get a good start here going in Academy Field against a perennial powerhouse in the Huguenots of New Rochelle. The Huguenots are coached by Mr. Ray Redd Jr., who took over the team midstream in 2019, taking over for a legend over at New Rochelle and head coach Lou DiRienzo after the Huguenots won their 2019 state championship. They fell short last year with a record of 7-2. Carmel was the team that nobody could beat last year in Section 1, nor in New York State. The Rams going on to winning the state championship decisively. They've graduated a lot of folks over in Carmel. We're going to take a little break here before kickoff. You're watching Newberg and New Rochelle Section 9 High School Football on 845 Sports Nation. We're back to Academy Field here in Newburgh, New York, ready for our kickoff between Newberg and New Rochelle. New Rochelle in white with the purple numbers will be receiving. Back to receive on the far side is number 8, Corey Dawson. On the near side, Rastafari Anderson, number 3. And kicking off for the Goldbacks, Luis Tejada. It's a low squibbler coming down near the 25-yard line. Huguenots finding some room up the middle. They're going to have good starting position to start this ball game at their 39-yard line. Number 4 for the Huguenots, Jordan Clark, scooped up that squibbler, and it'll be 1st and 10. They'll mark the football at the 40-yard line. And Austin Luzzy, the senior captain, quarterback for the Huguenots, will take possession of the football here with the running back Raiden Davis behind Luzzy, who starts the ball game in the shotgun. Handoffs right up the middle to Davis. Looks like they're going to give him a pickup of 3 yards on the play. Going to bring up 2nd and 7 from the 43, from their own 43 for New Rochelle. Looks like a 4-3 for Newberg to start off defensively in this ball game. From the shotgun is Luzzy. He hands the football off and on the far sideline, trying to get up. A good job by the Newberg defenders staying home. The carry was number 8, Corey Dawson. Going to give him a pickup of 2 yards on the play. Just short of the 46-yard line. So it's a long 4.5 yards for the first down. They need to get to midfield. Luzzy from the shotgun for New Rochelle. Got 3 receivers on the near side, 1 to the far, over the middle, intended for Dawson, broken up on the play. Nice job defensively by Newberg's Daryl Jackson, the linebacker, and that'll stop the New Rochelle offense on its opening series of downs. Back to receive the punt for Newberg on the far sides, number 23, Jaden Sanchez, and Joseph Alisea on the near side. It's a low kick coming down the near side towards Alisea. He takes it at the 25 and brought immediately to the ground near the 24-yard line. Andre Morales, number 84, was the punter there for New Rochelle. And Newberg will start its opening series of 2022 at their own 24-yard line. The Goldbacks are led in the quarterback position by Mason Hoover, the sophomore quarterback who filled in admirably for Dylan Iorlano after he went down late in the first quarter of the Section 9 final against Monroe Woodbury. Hoover will start from the shotgun. It's a handoff just to the right of center for the Goldbacks. Carrying the football for Newberg, number 4, Tajir Walker. They'll mark him down at the 26 for a pickup of 2. 2nd and 8 for the Goldbacks, their own 26-yard line here in the opening minutes of the first quarter between New Rochelle and Newberg. Hoover came over to the sideline, got the call from the Goldbacks offensive coordinator. Newberg coached by Mr. Billy Bianco, the winningest coach all time in Newberg. On the near side, it's a pass, a short pass. I believe that was to Christopher Leggett, the tight end on the near side from Hoover. They're going to mark him down near the 29, but there is a flag that came down late near the sideline. It's going to be a personal foul against New Rochelle, so that's going to add another 15 yards to the 3-yard reception. The penalty brings the ball all the way up to the 44-yard line of Newberg, 1st and 10 for the Goldbacks. Hoover from the shotgun, that's Walker to his right. Handoff goes to Walker, does a nice job sidestepping a would-be tackler and headed into New Rochelle territory for a big gainer down to the New Rochelle 48-yard line. That's an 8-yard gain for Walker. 2nd and 2 for the Goldbacks at the New Rochelle 48-yard line. New Rochelle also in a 4-3. Defensively, Hoover from the shotgun. Goes back to pass. Looking downfield, a little miscommunication between him and Elijah Bevier. Bevier stopped short near the 30-yard line. Hoover thought he was going to go downfield, so that's going to fall incomplete and bring up a 3rd and 2 for Newberg. As the sun sets, things become a little bit more comfortable here at Academy Field. As we mentioned earlier, low humidity, temperatures around the mid-70s right now, so a big 3rd down and 2 in New Row territory for the Goldbacks. Hoover's going to keep it up the middle, and he's got enough for a Newberg 1st down at the 45-yard line of the Huguenots. It's going to be a 3-yard gain for Hoover. And check that, it looks like they did the Wildcat, and it was Joseph Panesi, number 13, who took the snap, got the 3 yards for the Newberg 1st down. 1st and 10, Hoover back in there from the shotgun. Going back to pass, throws it off on the left side to Walker. He's got some room at the 40, near the 35-yard line, just short of a Newberg 1st down. It's going to be a 9-yard gainer for Hoover and Walker. So a good opening drive here for the Goldbacks, helped out by a untimely 15-yard penalty against the Huguenots on the near the Newberg sideline. And now the Goldbacks have a 2nd and 1. When they had short yardage in their last series of downs, they tried to go downfield for a touchdown. This time they're going to hand off the ball. Nice job there defensively that time by number 18 for the Huguenots. That's Taylor Rhett. I have to confirm this. That could be the son of head coach Ray Rhett Jr. He picked up 2 yards, though. Walker did, and that's enough for a Newberg 1st down. 1st and 10 for the Goldbacks from the Huguenots' 34-yard line. They've kept the ball now for just about 3 minutes here in the opening drive. Slightly overthrown, maybe a little bit more than slightly. Hoover and Bryce Buxton could not connect on the far sideline.
Yeah, he wasn't even close with that.
So it's going to be 2nd and 10 for the Goldbacks from the New Rochelle 34-yard line. 2 receivers on the near side, 1 on the far side. That's Buxton on the far side for the Goldbacks. And the give this time is right up the middle. About 3 yards on the play. Number 23, Jaden Sanchez with the carry. Second and 7 for Newberg. Both teams trying to fill each other out. Third down. Check that, third down. First one was an incomplete pass. Rolling out to his right is Hoover. Kind of threw that one in between two receiver. On the short side, he had Jay-Sean Thomas. And a little further downfield, he had number 8, Elijah Bevier. Could not connect. That's going to bring up a big fourth down decision here early for head coach Billy Bianco. And it looks like Hoover's going to come right back out on this fourth down. They're kind of in nowhere's land, a little bit too long for a field goal, though I did see Tejada just barely missing from 47 yards out. Fourth down and about 6. Call that 7, 4th and 7 for the Goldbacks. Hoover straight back to pass. Looking over the middle, he's got a receiver. That's Bevier at the 15. Sheds a couple of tackles, still on his feet, and all the way down to the 5-yard line.
Nice catch and yards after the catch. Not giving up.
Going to mark him down all the way at the 12-yard line. That's a 19-yard pickup. They found him in the slot right over the middle. And Bevier comes up with a nice catch after having not been on the same page on an earlier pass play. And with the clock running, the play clock running down, or they didn't like what they saw offensively, head coach Billy Bianco calls timeout. So New Rochelle started this ball game with possession of the football. Could not get a first down in their opening series. Punted the football away. Newberg took the ball on their own 24-yard line. Had a 2-yard gain by Tajir Walker to start the ball game, and then connected on a short pass of 3 yards. But what happened after the pass has been instrumental on this Newberg drive. It was a 15-yard personal foul call that pushed the ball up to the Newberg 44-yard line. And the Goldbacks have really put together some nice plays and have now driven all the way to the New Rochelle 12-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 with 6:21 remaining here in the first quarter. Coming out of the timeout now, number 13, Joseph Paness, has come out in the Wildcat formation. He's got Walker to his left. Paness is going to keep it. There is a flag on the play. He gets down near the goal line all the way down to the 1, but we'll see what the call is. It's going to be motion against Newberg. And so that's going to set the Goldbacks back another 5 yards. It'll negate the 11-yard gain. I'm sorry, it'll negate the 5-yard gain as the ball was placed on the 7, not the 12. So that was actually a 29-yard reception for Bevier that took the ball all the way down to the Huguenots' 7-yard line. Ball start will push the ball back now to the 12. So it's going to be 1st and goal from the 12-yard line for Newberg. Clock is stopped right now due to the penalty. 6:16 remaining here in the first quarter. Hoover back in instead of Paness now. Handoff, Walker up the middle. A nice job of gang tackling there by the Huguenots defensive line, led by Rhett as well as number 51, the senior captain, Luis Morales. Nice crowd here on opening day at Academy Field in Newberg. Hoover coming in off the sideline with the next play. 2nd and goal for the Goldbacks from their own 9-yard line, or from the Huguenots' 9-yard line. Hoover back to pass. Into the end zone, in the corner, had Bevier just off his fingertips on the near side. Pass falls incomplete. It's going to bring up 3rd and goal for Newberg. Bevier did a nice job of getting loose towards the back end of that end zone, and Hoover just missed him on the connection, trying to lead him into that near side corner. So far, Hoover's connected on 3 passes of 3, 9, and 29 yards in this ball game. And Tajir Walker, number 4, has carried the ball 4 times for 14 yards. We have another timeout on the field with 5:18 remaining now here in the first quarter. Coach Bianco wanted to make sure they put up a nice play here and try to get this ball into the end zone. As we mentioned, this is a game between 2 stalwart programs, 2 of the best high school football programs in New York State's highest classification, that's AA. The Huguenots are coached by Ray Red Jr. He's been at the helm since 2019 when he took over mid-season from coaching legend Lou DiRienzo. The Huguenots went on to win the state championship in 2019. They've also had championships in 2003, 2012, as well as 2019. And they've been in the finals, folks, for about 14 times since 2000. Back from the timeout. 3rd and goal from the Huguenots, 9 for Newberg. Hoover's in the shotgun. Nikkei Johnson's on the near side. The inside slot receiver is Bevier. Rolling to his right is Hoover. All of a sudden, in the middle, he thought he had Bevier. Try to get it squeezed in between 2 defenders. That was Lee Hester III as well as Rastafari Anderson for the Huguenots, doing a nice job closing in on Bevier.
He was lucky that ball fell and touched the ground because there was a lot of New Rochelle players right there waiting to pick that up.
That's the worst thing that can happen, a tip job inside the end zone. And here comes Luis Morales to try, Luis Tejada, my apologies, to try the field goal. It's a 27-yard attempt for Tejada. The ball was put down a little late. Did it cost him? And it did. Unfortunately, it looked like it was a bad snap. Number 52 for the Goldbacks, Carmen Marino, tried his best to bring that ball down, but it caused Tejada to hesitate, and the ball fell short on the 27-yard attempt. So a nice drive for the Goldbacks falls short.
Yeah, very good drive. Ate up a lot of clock, got down the field, and unfortunately couldn't put any points on the board.
Coach Bianco's got to be happy, though, on the opening drive of the first game of the season against a quality opponent like New Rochelle. They drove the ball from their own 21 all the way to 9 before the drive stalled.
Not only that, they stopped New Rochelle on their first drive, four and out. Then got possession and drove the length of the field.
So Austin Luzzy, number 2 from the shotgun for the Huguenots, will try to improve on that opening series. Pass out on the right flat. Defended nicely that time by Daryl Jackson. Raiden Davis with the reception. Lost 2 yards on the play. It's going to bring up 2nd and 12 for New Rochelle.
Jackson with the tackle for the loss. Back to the 18 brings up 2nd down and 12 for New Rochelle.
Second and 12. Inside handoff that time. Try to get a number there. Looks like it was number 6, Raiden Davis with the carry. Gets out beyond the 20-yard line to about the 23. It's going to be a pickup of 5 for New Rochelle. 3rd and 7 for New Rochelle from their own 23-yard line. Back to pass is Luzzy. Rolling to his right off the pressure, and he's got a receiver. A nice job that time by Lee Hester III, knowing where to get the first down. And then Luzzy did a nice job of throwing the football near the turf. So the only person who could catch that ball was Hester III, and he does just that to give New Rochelle its first down of the game. 1st and 10 Huguenots, their own 31-yard line. Luzzy from the shotgun. Davis is his running back. And the give is to Davis. Cuts towards his right. Had some minor running room, but quickly closing in for the Goldbacks was Carl Shaw, number 3, to limit the gain.
Jackson assisted by number 3, Carl Shaw.
3-yard gain by Davis. 2nd and 7 from their own 34-yard line. Split wide receivers to either side this time for Luzzy. Handoff on the far side. Once again, it's Davis. He's been the workhorse here early on this drive. A nice little gainer here on 2nd down. Looks like he gets out to about the 38-yard line. Third down and 3 for New Rochelle from the 38. They need to get to their own 41. It was a 4-yard gain that time by Davis. On the far side is Lee Hester III, 2 receivers on the near side. Rolling to the near side is Luzzy, a little looper wide open near the 45 is number 8, Corey Dawson, finally driven out of bounds into Newberg territory. They were heavy on the near side with the wide receivers, but the Goldbacks didn't adjust, and Dawson was wide open. 1st and 10 all the way to the 44-yard line for New Rochelle. $18-yard gain that time for Dawson. They're going to whistle this one dead. Looked like there was motion that time. Somebody left early for New Rochelle. Lights just starting to take effect here at Academy Field as the sun has set behind the trees on the west side of the field, the far side where the New Rochelle stands are. 5-yard penalty brings the ball back to the 49 of Newberg, where the Huguenots will have a 1st and 15. Corey Dawson and Jordan Clark, the receivers on the near side. Lee Hester III on the inside slot to the top of the field. Over the middle with the catch is Davis, brought down on the play very quickly by Kwamir Cueto for the Goldbacks. Ball's dropped. The receiver, Davis, is dropped at the 43-yard line. So a pickup of 6 on the reception. Second and 9 for Luzzy and the Huguenots. Again, this is the 4th penalty, I believe, of the evening so far here in the 1st quarter. We're under a minute left to play. But that's going to be a motion. It's going to send him back another 5 yards back to the 48. They need to get to the 34 of Newberg for a 1st down. So 2nd and 14 with the clock running inside of a minute. No score here at Academy Field. Newberg did their darndest driving all the way to the 9-yard line of the Huguenots before the drive stalled. Luzzy from the shotgun. Dawson in motion to the top, and there's a flag of play. And Looked like two men were moving at the same time. Actually, that's going to be a delay of game, not motion. Looks so like some confusion. A couple of players wanted to move at the same time. So
New Rochelle's moving the ball. It's just the wrong
and it's
direction.
the wrong direction. Good point. And finally, head coach Ray Red Jr. has had enough of the laundry and calls a timeout. So 20 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. No score between the Huguenots and NFA. The Goldbacks have only touched the football once here in the first quarter. It was a valuable first drive that started on their own 21, but unfortunately ended at the 9-yard line with no points on the board off the missed 27-yard field goal attempt by Luis Tejada. In the meantime, this is the second possession for New Rochelle of the quarter. The Huguenots went 3 and out on their opening drive and connected on a nice pass of 18 yards earlier on this second drive between Luzzy and number 8, Corey Dawson. That took the ball into Newberg territory at the 44, and the last few plays have ended in penalties. So we have a second down and 18 now from the New Rochelle 47-yard line for the Huguenots. And as we mentioned earlier, they need to get to the 34 of Newberg for a first down. The good news, they still have a couple of downs to try to do that. And once again, another flag against the Huguenots. That's 5 flags in the last 7 plays for New Rochelle.
First game of the season. I'm sure everybody's got the jitters. You know, you're coming up to Newberg. You know you're playing a good football team. And vice versa. You know, same thing with Newberg. They know they're playing a good football team. I'm sure there's butterflies on both sides. And, you know, New Rochelle's just
That one's a little bit tougher after a timeout.
yeah.
Second and 23. And mercifully, that'll end the first quarter for New Rochelle. There won't be a flag at least for the next couple of minutes.
You're correct.
So that was a very, at least, entertaining first quarter for the Goldbacks. They did a nice job on the only time they touched the football. As we mentioned, they took it at the 21, drove it to the 9 before it stalled. And the Huguenots trying to do something here as we trade sides. The sun has finally gone down over the trees here. It was a little bit difficult.
Yeah, I'm sure our viewers are a lot happier now. They don't have the sun glare in the camera. You can actually see the field now. You can see the game. You know, much better.
And
you know,
extremely
quality,
comfortable
quality
weather-wise.
video now.
Yeah, extremely weather comfortable, temperature-wise.
Absolutely, temperature's cooling down. You know what? It's great weather for football. And it's great to have football back. I mean, you know.
And 2 powerhouses.
Absolutely.
2 of the best programs in New York State in Class AA between Newberg, representing Section 9, and also Section 1's New Rochelle. I want to remind everyone that you can listen to the rebroadcast of this game at any time by heading on over to www.845sportsnation.com. Ed Estrada, Ed Diller, and George Diller bringing you all the action from Academy Field here at Newberg. Second down and 23 now. They play it safe, handoff right up the middle. Good job by Newberg in staying in their lanes and completing the tackles. Raiden Davis, number 6, takes the ball up to the 45-yard line. Pickup of 2 yards on that play. Need to pick up 21 yards for the first down. Receivers split on either side. Straight back to pass is Luzzy over the middle. He's got a receiver at the 50-yard line. That was number 1, Lee Hester III. Number 22 for Newberg, Joseph Alisea in on the tackle. And in the punt for the Huguenots will be number 84, Andre Morales. Back to receive the punt on the near side for the Goldbacks is Jaden Sanchez, and Alisea is on the far side. They're set up on their own 20. High snap brought down by Morales. It's a high, short kick that almost got blocked. Takes a bounce straight up near the 28-yard line, and it's finally rested at the 26, where the Goldbacks will take over 1st and 10. 10:32 remaining in the first half, no score between New Rochelle and Newberg.
Very close to getting that punt blocked. Real, very, very close.
Almost looked like the ball went through the hands
Yes.
of the would-be blocker. We'll see what sophomore Mason Hoover can do on his second possession as Newberg's full-time quarterback. We mentioned earlier that Hoover, as a freshman, took over the reins of the Goldbacks in a very stressful situation with Dylan Iorlano, the senior quarterback for the Goldbacks, going down towards the end of the first quarter of their Section 9 championship game against Monroe Woodbury last year. That game was played down in Central Valley, so a home field advantage at the time for the Crusaders. But head coach Billy Bianco did a nice job of putting in a program for the freshman quarterback that led to the Goldbacks' victory down in Central Valley, and then went on to defeat Arlington in overtime in the regional final. The Goldbacks defeated Arlington at Fowler Field in the regional final to advance to the state semifinals, where they lost to the Rams of Carmel. Carmel ended up winning a state championship, and they were a juggernaut last year.
Didn't we see a couple Carmel coaches here?
Yeah, I think we did. They're out here scouting
Or
the Huguenots because
supporting relatives, maybe?
New Rochelle's week 2 game is against Carmel, so I'm sure New Rochelle's going to want to gain some revenge for that loss last year against the Rams. So, as we mentioned, Morales is in to punt the football with Alisea and Sanchez back to receive the kick. And they're going to blow this one dead. I think this is going to go, against New Rochelle.
Yep.
Everybody else wanted to move, but the important person, the snapper, didn't want to move. This will set everybody back another 5 yards. Sanchez and Alisea for the Goldbacks will now set themselves at their own 15-yard line. Kick is up. It's a little bit better than the last one. It's fair caught by Alisea at about the 16. We'll see where they mark the football. They will mark 1st and 10 for Newberg in their own 16-yard line for their second possession of the game. Mentioned earlier, the Goldbacks will be on the road up in Corning to take on Corning Painted Post, another team that made the state playoffs last year, so that'll be a nice matchup for Newberg. That'll be followed up by a home game against Kennedy High School out of the Bronx before they head into Section 9 action on the road at Middletown on September 23rd. 1st and 10 for Hoover. Got 2 wide receivers to either side. He's going to keep the football this time. Nothing doing, says the defensive line of New Rochelle, led by number 51, Luis Morales, one of the team captains, and Christian Roan, the sophomore defensive lineman. This time it looks like number 13, Joseph Piness, is back in, and he's going to take the snap here. Typically, when Piness has been in the ball game so far here in the early going, it's been in the Wildcat formation. This time he does hand the ball off on the near side, getting around the corner at the 20, the 25, the 30. sheds another tackler. He's down the sideline. Can he beat the Huguenots down the field? It looks like he can. Yes, he can. Touchdown, Goldbacks. Elijah Bevier took the handoff. Goes 85 yards on the play. And Newberg is on the board 6-0 here in the first half. Paness had been in there and all on the previous snaps in the Wildcat formation. He's kept the football. This time he hands it off to Bevier, and it ends 85 yards later in a Goldback touchdown. Morales, Tejada in for the extra point, and it is good. So 9:14 remaining in the first half, and Newberg is on the board. "85 yards by Elijah Bevier, the senior, set up as a wide receiver on the far side. And as I mentioned, it was Joseph Paness who was in taking the snap. The other times he's taken a snap for Newberg, it's been in the Wildcat formation, and he's run the football on his own. This was the first time he handed it off to somebody else, and that somebody else ran down the sideline, only really had to get around the corner and shed one would-be tackler, which he did, and Bevier ends the run with a touchdown. Newberg's looked impressive so far on both of its possessions. The first one ended with a missed field goal from 27 yards out. Bevier said, no field goal attempt needed this time. Takes it into the end zone for 6. Tejada finishes up with a strong extra point, and the Goldbacks will be kicking off with a 7-0 lead. Back to receive the kick for the Huguenots on the near side is number 8, Corey Dawson. And number 3 on the far side is Rastafari Anderson. Goldbacks trying to adjust themselves here on the kickoff. Tejada will be marking it off. His last kickoff was a squibbler. We'll see if he does the same thing. And again, another squibbler for Tejada. Anderson got a lot of room, trying to answer back for New Rochelle, and puts them in some strong field position just short of midfield. He had a running head start in picking up a nice bounce that went to him on the squibbler from Tejada, and it brings it all the way back to midfield. That's where New Rochelle will begin its third offensive series of the half, trying to tie this ball game back up. Number 2, Austin Leslie, the senior quarterback captain from the shotgun. Davis off the handoff, right up the middle, finds a lot of running room deep into Newberg territory, gains a first down, but there is a flag, and that's coming right back. That's been the nemesis tonight so far for New Rochelle, and that's been the little yellow hanky. That's going to cost them 10 yards on the hold and negate what would have been a 14-yard pickup for Davis.
It's killing them when they finally do make a play, and the flags are just killing them. I mean, what's this, 6, 7?
I think it's
in
like
the first
yeah, it's
half?
about 7 in the first half. One personal foul, this hold, and the rest have been motion penalties. 1st and 20 for the Huguenots. Anderson, Dawson on the near side are the receivers. They're going to try it again with Davis on the handoff. He's got some more running room and makes up some of that penalty yardage to the Newberg 47-yard line. Picked up 6 on the play.
Looks like you got an injured player, number 9 for Newberg, struggling to get off.
That's Daryl Jackson favoring his left leg, trying to get off the field here. Davis, handoff on the far side, tries to cut it back in, but a nice job by that front four of Newberg, limits the carry to 1 yard. Jackson on the bench in pain as he slams down a cup. We hope he'll be able to make it back into this ball game. Ball's at the 48, 3rd down and 12 for New Rochelle. Luzzy from the shotgun. He's got backs to the either side of himself. That's Hester in motion, throwing it up the middle. Wide open. It's going to lead to a New Rochelle touchdown. Wide open, gets behind the defenders. Number 8, Corey Dawson with the reception for New Rochelle, answers the Goldbacks right away. C.J. Sessi in for the extra point attempt to try to tie this ball game up. 52 yards on that reception. Kick is up. Kick is good. And we are tied up. And despite all of those New Rochelle penalties, the Huguenots find a play deep to a wide open Corey Dawson from 52 yards out, and we are tied here at Academy Field.
We have a football game.
Which is kind of what we thought.
It's kind of nice.
We've gotten here in a weird fashion, but nevertheless.
Absolutely, we're here.
But that, I will say, that's the second time now that a receiver has gotten behind the Newberg secondary.
Yes.
The first time, I believe a penalty was called, calling it back. And this time, no penalty.
Well, there was a penalty. It wasn't a flag, but it was 6 points.
Yep. Beautiful night here on Labor Day weekend at Academy Field in Newburgh, New York. The beautiful Hudson Valley. We do see number 9 for the Goldbacks, Daryl Jackson, trying to run off his injury after getting, I believe, taped on the sideline. And with each sprint, he looks to be in better and better shape on the sideline. So we might see him come back in here. So C.J. Sessi, number 80, will kick off this time for New Rochelle. Back to receive the kick is Bryce Buxton, number 7. He's set up at his own 10. On the near side for Newberg also is Xavier Sill. It's a low kick on the near side. That's Sill at the 30. The 35 takes a big hit by Chris Maple of the Huguenot special teams. And that's where Newberg will take over on their 3rd possession of the half at the 35-yard line, all tied up with 7:11 remaining here in the half. A good test for both teams here in the opening weekend. New York State allowed an additional week of games, so we call this now week 0 in New York State high school football, and most teams have decided to add an opponent from a different section, kind of to measure themselves up against the rest of the state competition. Hoover back in from the shotgun position. Walker's the running back behind him. He's got 2 receivers on the near side, 1 to the far. He's looking for a man to go in motion and finally does, but it's a handoff to Walker. that kind of might have confused that defense for New Rochelle, and it opened up the middle for Walker. He gets 7 yards on the play. That's the 5th carry of the game for Walker. Got 21 yards on the night. 2nd and 3 for Newberg from their own 43-yard line on the near side. Walker at the 45, tries to cut it to the near side near the 50, gets into New Rochelle territory, but a couple of flags down near the 39-yard line is likely to bring this back. It's going to be a hold call against the Goldback, so that's going to negate the carry by Walker and cost Newberg 10 yards. Ball's going to be marked now at the 29-yard line. They need to get to their own 46 for a first down, so it's going to be 2nd and 17 for Newberg, their first penalty of the game. And for the short term, it's costly because Walker had a first down on that run. Back to pass is Hoover, looking downfield on the near side, finds the short receiver at the 30, finally driven out of bounds. That's Ja'Shawn Thomas with the reception. Gets out of bounds to the, driven out of bounds at the 41 by number 18 of the Huguenots, Taylor Rhett. That's a 12-yard pickup. For Thomas. On the 4th connection of the night for sophomore quarterback Mason Hoover. 3rd down and 5 for the Goldbacks. And there's going to be a flag, a delay game this time. And Newberg trying their best to see if they can catch the Huguenots in the flag territory.
They're on their way.
Going to cost them 5 yards. 3rd and 10 for Newberg, their own 36-yard line. 6:07 remaining here in the first half. We're all tied up. Both scores coming here in the second quarter. Hoover on the near side's got a receiver at the 40. Still on his feet at the 45, and I believe with the second effort, he's got enough for a Newberg first down. Bryce Buxton did a nice job of carrying the would-be tackler who had him by the shirt tails. They're going to mark the football at the Newberg 47-yard line, and as you hear in the background, as Ed Diller mentioned earlier, Matt Lawrence, 30 years here at Academy Field, picks up the first down.
One of the good things, halftime, he's going to come join us, and he had to see some stuff here over 30 years.
He's got one of those fabulous voices, both for radio, television, and public address. Walker off the handoff. It's a big hit there between an offensive and defensive lineman. No gain on the carry by Walker. Both teams feel like, looks like they're trying to feel each other out here in the first half.
Hopefully they're getting all these penalties out of the way in the first half as well.
Goldbacks rush up to the line. They have 4 seconds left on the play clock. They do get it off. Handoff, Sanchez, he's at the 50 on the far side, still on his feet before he's finally driven out of bounds, but not before he gets a Goldback first down. A nice job by Jaden Sanchez. First and 10, Newberg. They're at the Huguenot 42-yard line after that 11-yard gain by Sanchez. Hoover going to keep it. No, that's Paness off the Wildcat. Some nice room inside and a good carry all the way down to the 35-yard line. That's going to be a 7-yard pickup for Paness and bring up 2nd and 3.
It's a very important possession for Newberg. 3 minutes left, 3.5 minutes left in the half. If they can put points on the board after deferring in the kickoff, they get the ball back again.
Good point. And their third possession, they haven't really been stopped yet offensively. Ball comes loose. A nice job to pick it back up by Bevier, but he's dropped also on the play by Rhett for the Huguenots. Looked like the exchange had been made, but didn't look like he had total possession of the football when he took it from Hoover. But he recovers the loose ball at the 40-yard line, and Newberg retains possession. Lost about 5 yards on the play, however. Third down, about 7. Hoover back to pass. Tried to get it to Buxton once again. Buxton was coming back towards the football, and the ball was thrown a little bit too close to the sideline, and he couldn't reach back to gain possession. So it's going to bring up 4th down, an interesting call by head coach Bianco. Looks like Hoover is staying in for the 4th down play. And with 2:46 remaining, an interesting call on whether or not you punt the football and push the Huguenots and have to have them drive the entire length of the field.
Because
if you don't get it here, then New Rochelle has got the ball at the 40-yard line. We'll see what happens. Hoover rolls to his right, looking downfield. He's got a receiver, but defended well by 3 different Huguenots. And as we thought, New Rochelle will now gain possession with 2.5.
Just short of midfield.
They have 2 timeouts left, plenty of time for the Huguenots here to put points on the board. So I'm sure with the type of play that he called, Coach Bianco was thinking if they intercept the football, it's down as good as a punt.
Or they're going to punt it anyway.
But unfortunately, it fell incomplete instead. First and 10, New Rochelle. From their own 40-yard line, the game is tied. 2.5 minutes remaining here in the first half.
Nice crowd here at NFA.
Yes, beautiful opening night crowd. Had plenty to cheer on with the exception of that last play. Luzzy trying to look downfield, getting rushed hard, finding someone over the middle. He's got a reception now down near the 30-yard line. That was all Austin Luzzy buying some time for Corey Dawson to get downfield, and the reception's made at the 31. "28 yards on the reception by Dawson. He's had 2 catches, one for 52 yards and one for 28 yards. First and 10, Huguenots, as time winds down here in the first half. Luzzy hands it off on the delayed exchange, and up the middle for another first down for the Huguenots is number 6, Raiden Davis. And in just 2 plays, New Rochelle has taken the ball from their own 40 to the Newberg 22-yard line. Pickup of about 12 for Davis. First and 10. Back to passes Luzzy. Looking down the middle in the end zone. Touchdown. New Rochelle wide open. Once again, Corey Dawson has given the Huguenots their first lead of the ball game.
Wide open. Nobody within 10 yards of him.
So to go along with his 85-yard reception for a touchdown, Dawson has his second TD of the evening, this time from 22 yards out, and C.J. Sessi in for the extra point attempt. They're going to throw it in set for the two-point conversion. They masqueraded that play beautifully, and Dawson comes down with the two-point conversion to extend the New Rochelle lead to 15-7. Crowd sounds a little bit stunned here. That was quick. We talked about the fact, Ed, of whether you punt the football near midfield and try to push New Rochelle back, or you give them possession if you don't make the fourth down, which is exactly what happened near midfield.
Everything that could have gone wrong for NFA on that fourth down went wrong with them. Went wrong.
And quick.
They tried to go for it all. They got nothing. Gave the ball up 10 yards short of midfield. And New Rochelle marched down the field with a 20-yard, 22
yards.
22-yard touchdown pass. And, nobody within 10 yards of the guy. Wide open. And the two-point conversion, NFA was sleeping. They had no idea what was happening. They snapped the ball, and they all stood there and realized, he's running the other end of the end zone with the football.
Of concern for Coach Bianco so far. And again, we talked that this is the first game for both teams.
Absolutely.
So you're going to try to find out where your weaknesses are, where your strengths are. But some work needs to be done in the NFA secondary because they've had a lot of wide open wide receivers and some what seems to be miscommunication in the secondary between some of those Newberg players.
Yes, absolutely. And again, like we said, it's the first game.
Sessi in to kick off for the Huguenots. We'll see what NFA can do on offense. They've had some good possessions here. It's at the 30-yard line. That's Buxton for the Goldbacks, taking the ball all the way up to the 33. And with 1:39 remaining here in the first half and one timeout, Newberg takes over for their fourth possession of the evening. We had a late start here for this ball game. It was supposed to start at 6 p.m. We ended up starting at 6:30. As many of you know, the New York State Thruway could be a monster in the summertime, especially Labor Day weekend during commuting time. And the Huguenots got caught up in some of that traffic. Hoover rolling to his right. Finds a receiver on the far side, still on his feet at the 40-yard line, near midfield. Finally brought down, but not until he gets into Huguenot territories. Number 88, Jay-Sean Thomas for the Goldbacks. 20-yard pickup that time for Thomas. First and 10. Back to pass again is Hoover. This time to Buxton. Could not connect as Buxton looped around to try to catch the ball on the inside. Good job that time defensively by the Huguenots. Rastafari Anderson, number 3, kind of cut the lane.
Newberg's got to realize there's no reason to rush. They still have 1 minute and 12 seconds. They still have 2 timeouts. And they're in the New Rochelle territory. There's no reason to rush the ball.
As you mentioned earlier, Ed, if the Goldbacks can come away with some points here, they do get possession of the football to start the second half as well.
Correct.
Second and 10. Straight back Hoover, trying to look downfield and find somebody, but he's finally brought down. A good job by that New Rochelle secondary. And Hoover could not find anybody downfield. And, sooner or later, your internal clock says start to run the football because there's nobody open. That's what happened, but he was brought down by that defensive line of New Rochelle. Ball's marked at the 48-yard line for Newberg. Clock's running inside of 45 seconds. Goldbacks now don't seem to be in any hurry on this third down play. If they do get a first down, the clock will stop while the down markers are reset. Back to pass again is Hoover. Heaving it up downfield. Can he get it over the defender? No. A nice job that time by number 4, Jordan Clark, as he tried to find
Offense had to
Thomas
play.
downfield.
Offense had to play a little defense right there.
So this time near midfield, Coach Bianco, it will be punting the football. And remember that Newberg's punter, who's also one of their top receiver, Deandre Johnson, is out with an injury today. Hope to see Johnson right back on the field soon. Nice punt, high, that comes down near the 31-yard line before the goal backs down the football with 11 seconds remaining here in the first half. We'll be joined at halftime by Newburgh public address announcer in his 30th year, Mr. Matt Lawrence, who is all things knowing when it comes to Newburgh Free Academy sports. So we'll see what the Huguenots do. My guess is they'll probably sit on the football here as they have an 8-point lead and the ball's at their own 32-yard line.
Do you sit on it? Or do you just throw it up?
I don't think you want to risk a fumble and interception.
With
Though
11,
they do
11
have a
seconds.
formation to throw downfield, so it does look like they'll have a play here. And Luzzy is going back to pass and throwing it down. Still looking for somebody. He's going to keep the football, try to get out of bounds at the 45-yard line. And with 3 seconds, he's at least given himself a shot at a Hail Mary.
Yep. He was looking downfield. He wanted to throw it.
Coach Redd Jr. in his third full season as head coach of New Rochelle, taking over towards the end of 2019. This time he does take a knee at the 45-yard line. That'll do it for the first half. So what started out as a very promising first half for the Goldbacks ended with some minor disappointment towards the end of the second half. And as we head into intermission, the Huguenots of New Rochelle, representing Section 1, have a 15-7 lead against the Goldbacks of Newberg.
Great game so far. First half was very good half so far for both teams. NFA opened up, stopping New Rochelle 4 and out, got the ball, drove down the length of the field, missed the field goal from short yardage. They had a pass into the end zone over here in the corner that went incomplete.
Yep.
The opportunities are there.
Yeah, they, like I said, Newberg has had 4 possessions in this game, and all have been positive possessions.
Absolutely.
They haven't all resulted in points, but nevertheless, they have been able to drive the ball pretty efficiently against the Huguenots down the field. So, as Ed mentioned, we started off the game with a New Rochelle possession that was 4 and out. The Goldbacks took over the football on their own 24-yard line with the help of a personal foul penalty, was able to drive the football into New Rochelle territory and actually drove it all the way down to the 9-yard line before the drive stalled. A bad snap on the field goal attempt from 27 yards out resulted in a missed field goal by Tejada. New Rochelle on their next possession drove the ball to about midfield before that drive stalled, and then the Goldbacks came right back, and on an 85-yard reception that was entirely by Bevier, number 8, Elijah Bevier, as he took the ball down the near sideline. We're going to take a break here and take a look at the Newburgh Goldback cheerleaders.
1, 2. Yes, sir.
We
Not,
did, we did all that prior to the broadcast.
I'm not loud, though. I can't hear. Can you turn my headphone up a little bit? There you go. Thank you.
Welcome back, everybody, here to Academy Field in Newburgh, New York. Ed Estrada, Ed Diller, and George Diller bringing you all the action on opening weekend of 2022 New York State High School football. And what better place? I couldn't think of a better place to start our opening week. We have Mr. Matt Lawrence, all things Newburgh, with us here at halftime. And what a great atmosphere to start the year. In a game, traditionally, you would think you'd see these two teams facing off in late October or early November in the state playoffs. Instead, we have all the action here in the first week.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to do a playoff game, first game out of the chute. You know, it's Newberg hasn't even started school yet. So that's a big thing. You know, they don't even have the students in there, so this is all social media, word of mouth, trying to get everybody to fill the stands. But it looks like they've done a good job.
Yeah, it's a great crowd here for opening night for the Goldbacks. And, you know, the game started off pretty good for Newburgh. They stopped New Rochelle on a 4-and-out to start the game. Practically every single possession, Newburgh has had some positive stuff going on offensively, including the long touchdown run by Bevier. Unfortunately, some issues in the secondary. They've let a couple of New Rochelle receivers get behind them that have caused them to lose the lead here late in the first half. But they got to have some good signs on offense and some things to work on defense.
Well, I think the biggest difference in a game right now, we're all watching the first half, is that monster drive you put together on a 4-and-out and you come up empty. If it's 15-14 going into half now, you get the kickoff coming out,
Correct.
You have a chance to turn this game around. But because you come up empty, not even a field goal, you're now down 8, your back's up against the wall a little bit, and I think now you're starting to see the New Rochelle quarterback get a little bit comfortable. You know, then you lace them up no matter who you have.
Yep.
Newberg dealing with a few injuries on defense and offense. These are non-league games, but you still want to get off to a good start.
Absolutely. And whatever happens in this game, because these two teams are historically two of the best in New York State when it comes to Class AA competition, it sends a message through. Everybody in New York State is looking at this game to see what the result is and how the teams play out. A little question I had was right before the end of the first half, with about 2.5 minutes remaining. Newburgh had the ball near midfield on 4th down. Coach Bianco decided not to punt the football and perhaps pin New Rochelle deep in their own zone. And instead, the missed opportunity on 4th down, New Rochelle gets the football on their own 40-yard line and a shorter field. 4 plays later, the Huguenots take the lead.
Well, the last two, if you look at where Newberg kicked the ball off, they started their possessions at the 30-something and at the 40-yard line. So at the 35 and 40-yard line, you're still giving them the same exact possession it would be on a kickoff.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing.
And New Rochelle's done a nice job of shedding themselves from what really was a horrendous amount of penalties, especially motion penalties. They've had about 8 in the first half between motion, a hold, an inopportune hold call that brought back a first down play, as well as a personal foul that helped Newburgh extend that first opening drive before it stalled at their own on the New Rochelle 9-yard line. But they've done. Coach Red did a nice job of getting his team to finally calm down towards the end of the half.
And that's what it is. It's all, and this first half is all about trying to work out the bugs. They have a lot of juniors and sophomores coming up. They only brought back a few seniors coming in on their starters. You have coaches here that are scouting you because they're going to play you next week. They're going against the New York State champion next week. So, yeah, it'd be nice to get Newberg win, but right now, work the bugs out so that way when you're coming in next week against Carmel, you're good.
Yeah, I mean, you can see a couple of the coaches walking around the fans, with the big red C on their shirts or whatever. So I'm sure they're here supporting family, obviously. But listen, the other big news, 30 years a PA announcer for the Newburgh Free Academy Goldbacks.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Between basketball, football, I know you're getting pulled in 2 different directions right away, and you have 5 minutes left in the half. But give us a little bit about it. In the 30 years of being here, you've had to see some great sports.
I have. I started with the Newberg Raiders when I was 18 years old at the Newberg Recreation Park. And 3 years later, they have the announcer retiring for here, and I played football here, so I've always been close to everyone here. They kind of approached me and said, "Hey, would you start here?" So I started out, but I filled in some big. The guy who announced here was here for 20-something years, and he had the signature calls. He called all my games, and I've always wanted to emulate that. And what keeps me going here is that Charlie Rappeljay, the head of the Booster Club, he's here 51 years. So when I think I put a lot of time in,
You look at him.
I come here and I just announce. This guy comes here, he feeds the team. He's here doing all of that.
You're just here over half a way.
Yeah, I mean, so
I'm tired just thinking of 51
Absolutely.
years.
but I've been here for 7 athletic directors, 6 principals, 6 superintendents. I see a lot of different faces, but the one thing stays constant. I think we all talked about this at the beginning. Our love for the game. It doesn't matter the weather, the sun, the IT or the technical problems, whatever. We're here early because we love the game.
And for these kids.
Absolutely.
You look at these kids who many, and obviously I do Middletown, you do Newberg.
Which will be in 3 weeks.
There we go. But, they come from difficult circumstances, many of them. So for people to show up and show support for them in any way, they see the blood, sweat, and tears that you do getting here early. You've been here since 2:30, 3 o'clock, if
Right.
not earlier, to try to help set everything up. And you'll be here long after everybody else is gone, setting everything back down again. So they see your love for it, and I think they truly appreciate it.
Well, and I love doing it. You know what it is, too, and I've learned over the course of years, going to some big professional stadiums and going to places, that the game, no matter who we are, the game will always happen on the field.
Yep.
So no matter who the announcer is, no matter who the spectators are, the game is always the biggest thing going. So I just try to enhance the spectators' view of the game and just give the home team a little bit of push. You don't try to be – I try to be impartial as much as possible, but seeing some of these kids going to Army, going to Rutgers, going to this, that's success. And no, you know what? You're happy for these kids because some of them get to come out of a really bad situation.
You know what? I'm sure on behalf of the Board of Education, the staff of the high school, the student athletes, thank you for 30 years.
Yeah.
Thank
It's
you.
absolutely amazing. You've done a great job.
And you got a great voice, my friend. You really do.
Well, no one ever told me I was quiet, so I actually found some place to put my voice to. So, you know your strengths. And the nice thing I've seen in the past couple of years is now the 3 of us have not only, Newburgh, Middletown, Ed's a Newburgh guy, the 3 of us, we live 15, 20 miles. We take it on the road and we go do teams we don't even know.
We'll do lacrosse. We'll do soccer. We'll do a little bit of everything.
I did swimming last year,
Section 9,
So
for
yeah, it's
Section
great.
9.
It's just to get these kids going. It's fantastic. So thanks for having me.
Absolutely,
Thanks for having me,
Matt.
and hope it's
Congratulations on
Thank you.
30 years.
Thank you.
I'll see you in the next 30 years.
God willing, right?
We'll
All
take
right,
a break here at Academy Field. New Rochelle leads Newberg at the half, 15-7. Welcome back, everybody, once again to Academy Field here on the campus of Newburgh Free Academy. Ed Estrada with Ed Diller, George Diller on camera, bringing you all of the action here on 845 Sports Nation. Once again, if you want to see the replay of this game after this evening, just head on over to www.845sportsnation.com for the replay. 15-7, New Rochelle over Newberg here in the half. A well-played game with the exception of a couple of drives where penalties have come into play, but some nice running by Newberg and passing by New Rochelle has the Huguenots with the 8-point lead here. And Ed, a beautiful evening here in Newberg.
Absolutely. Great weather for football. A little rough earlier in the game. You had the sun right over the trees, the camera pointing right into the sun, beating down on us. But, sun is set, lights are on, Friday night football, and we're back.
We do want to mention that Newberg's really one of, if not their star player, number 81, Deandre Johnson, is out with a shoulder injury for tonight. We want to definitely play it cautious, so he's ready for a Section 9 football when they start up in 3 weeks. The Goldbacks will be on the road next week up at Corning to take on Corning Painted Post. They'll follow that up with a home game against Kennedy High School out of the Bronx before they enter Section 9 action against Middletown on the road. New Rochelle, meanwhile, next week will have a home game against Carmel, trying to gain revenge on their loss against the Rams last year as Carmel took the state championship in Class AA.
There's a couple other coaches walking around.
Yeah, I think we saw a Big C with a red shirt. Might be scoping out the Huguenots for next week's challenge.
Yeah, I'm sure they are.
We do want to welcome everybody from both sections. These are two powerhouses in Class AA high school football. Newberg will have the football to start the second half. Number 80, CJ Sessi, in to kick off. Buxton on the near side for Newberg. Xavier Sill on the far side for the Goldbacks, ready to receive the kick. He's near the 20-yard line. And here we go, second half football. Newberg and New Rochelle, a nice kick way back near the 12-yard line. Buxton at the 20 and a good run back up near the 30-yard line. We'll mark him at the 29. It's going to be about a 17-yard return for Buxton, and Newberg will take over. One of the blockers there, number 9, coming back off with a limp. That's Daryl Jackson. He had that limp from an earlier injury in the second half. Seems like it's still bothering him despite being taped up. So it's going to be 1st and 10 for the Goldbacks to start their first possession of the second half, down by 8. Hoover from the shotgun. Walker is the running back, and it's going to be a handoff to Walker up the middle. He's brought down by number 3 of the Huguenots, Rastafari Anderson, and number 18, Taylor Rhett. But a nice gainer on first down all the way up to the 34-yard line. It's going to be a pickup of 5 for Walker, 2nd and 5 for the Goldbacks. Walker unofficially with 21 yards in the first half on 6 carries. Adds 5 to that total on the opening handoff. On the near side for the Goldbacks is Nikkei Johnson and Elijah Bevier. Rolling to his right is Hoover. Tried to find Jay-Sean Thomas, but overthrew him. We were talking at halftime with Matt Lawrence about how for the young quarterbacks that touch pass is probably one of the harder passes to throw, believe it or not. And that time, Hoover had that problem. Incomplete 3rd and 5 for the Goldbacks from their own 34. Hoover runs in with the play from the sideline. Buxton on the far side, lined up as a receiver. Walker's the running back. Bevier's the inside receiver. Rolling to his right is Hoover. Still on his play. Looks like that's going to be a hold. He tried to get it to Bevier, almost intercepted by Hester III, and it's going to be a hold called against Newberg. We'll see if head coach Ray Red Jr. for the Huguenots decides to take the flag or if he'll take the down and make it 4th down and 5. Waiting for the call. They are going to mark him back. I don't think Coach Rhett wanted a chance at, with only 5 yards left for a 1st down. So that's going to take the Goldbacks 10 yards back. Ball's marked at the 24. They need to get to the 39-yard line. So 3rd down and 15 for the Goldbacks on their opening series of the second half. Once again, that's Nikkei Johnson on the near side along with Bevier. They're going to hand the ball off this time. Bevier off the top. Slips as he tries to cut back inside near the 30-yard line, and that's where Newberg will have to punt the football. So unlike the first half when the Goldbacks had 4 very solid offensive possessions, their initial one to start the second half is going to be a 3-and-out.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about it at halftime. Matt had mentioned that, it looked like New Rochelle's quarterback's getting warmed up, and I can say the same with New Rochelle's defense. They look like they stepped up their game a little bit so far.
A nice kick. A nice punt that time by number 24 of the Goldbacks, Luis Tejada, the place kicker as well. The ball is marked at the 25-yard line. I believe that was a 50-yard punt by Tejada. He got a nice bounce, but it was a high kick. It's marked down at the 24-yard line, and Austin Luzzy will take over. The senior captain quarterback, a late player coming in, that's Rhett from the sideline. Raiden Davis is the running back behind Luzzy. Luzzy hands off to Davis. A nice job by that Newberg defensive line. Looks like that was number, try to get a number there for you. Actually coming up from his linebacker position was Jayshon Thomas with the stop at the line of scrimmage. So 2nd down, they're going to give him a yard. So 2nd and 9 for the Huguenots. Their own 25-yard line. Just missing the tackle was Thomas in the backfield. Dawson escapes the would-be tackler and ends up gaining 5 yards on the play to the 30. Third and 4 for New Rochelle, their opening series of the second half. Far side receivers for the Huguenots, Jordan Clark and Corey Dawson. That's Dawson in motion. Handoff inside to Davis. Nice job by that Newberg front line. It's going to be a loss of 2 yards on the play for Davis. Jackson with the tackle for the Goldbacks. That's going to force a punt here for New Rochelle. Back to receive the punt on the near side for the Goldbacks will be Joseph Alisea, and on the far side, Jaden Sanchez. They're at their own 40-yard line to receive the kick. Almost blocked once again by Newberg.
How that wasn't blocked is beyond me.
Does a nice job of actually getting the football off, but the Goldbacks are going to have great field position here with 8:10 remaining in the third quarter, trailing in the game by 8. Both teams defensively, which we didn't see in this first half, did a nice job on both of those series. And as Ed said in the first half, he almost blocked it a second time.
Yeah, again, like you
Something,
said, the first half we thought it went between his hands. This one definitely went between
yeah,
his hands.
something to look out for late in the game.
Absolutely.
1st and 10. Goldbacks have two receivers on the near side. That's Buxton on the far side. Bevier in motion. He's going to almost look like he was going to throw the football, but he brings it back down and keeps it. And is going to gain 1 yard, actually going to gain 3 yards to the 49-yard line of New Rochelle.
Yeah, he looked like he was shuffling the ball, getting ready to throw it downfield, and thought better of it.
3 yards on the play for Bevier. If you remember, he has the one touchdown for the Goldbacks. Something similar in motion, getting the handoff and taking it down the sideline for the Goldbacks late in the first quarter. Inside handoff. Sanchez loses a couple of yards back to midfield. Good job by that front line of the Huguenots getting into that backfield and negating any possibility for Sanchez to get traction. 3rd down now for the Goldbacks, a little more than 9 yards that they need to get the first down. Hoover straight back to pass. Rolls towards his right, trying to direct traffic. Will keep the football at the 45, and he goes out of bounds near the first down marker. It's going to be enough at least to give Newberg an opportunity on 4th down. Looks like they're going to mark him down
Looks like he's gonna
near
be
the
a
first
little
down
short.
marker. I think he's just going to be short. They're actually going to
Yep, gonna
call
it, bring the
time, and they're
chains
going to
out.
take a measurement. Nice job that time by Hoover, recognizing that there was nothing downfield. He held on to the football and did his best to get into first down. Nevertheless, you would expect Coach Bianco to go for this if they're just short on the play. You're partially blocked there by number 81. That's Deandre Johnson. As we mentioned earlier, he's out with a shoulder injury tonight. Goldback coaches wanting to make sure he's prepared and ready to go when Section 9 play resumes in a couple of weeks. Big measurement here for both teams. No signal yet by the official. If you're going by the Goldbacks, they got a first down, but it looks like he's short. He's short by about a couple of chain links. And it's going to bring up a 4th down. And you wonder if it'll be Paness coming in for Hoover in a wildcat formation here. We'll take a look. Hoover's on the near side here. It's still an official time while they mark the football. They're being very, very careful. As we said, it was that close, just a couple of inches, if that, for the first down marker. Still trying to see if Hoover will go out there for this 4th down and inches play.
This is highly technical stuff right here, getting this ball right.
Now you just hope a big gush of wind doesn't come and re-spot the football.
So we started late enough as it is.
Goldbacks are in the huddle. The ball's finally placed. The down markers are set. And 4th down at the Huguenots' 42-yard line. Just a couple of inches needed. This time Hoover's going to go right under center. 2 backs in the backfield. They go with the fullback right up the middle. First down, Newberg. Carl Shaw, the fullback, with the first down run. Picks up 3 on the play. And a big 1st and 10 for the Goldbacks. 7:14 remaining in the third quarter. Newberg trailing New Rochelle by 8. On the near side, Daryl Johnson. This time, Hoover's going to keep the football, trying to get around the corner. Nice job by the Huguenots, number 51. That's the senior captain, Luis Morales, with the tackle, preventing Hoover from getting some additional yardage on the near sideline. Pickup of 2 for Hoover. 2nd and 8 for the Goldbacks from the Huguenots' 37-yard line. Johnson comes out of the ball game for Newberg. Christopher Leggett, who's had a big reception earlier in the game, now in for the Goldbacks. Hoover off the high snap, going to keep the football right up the middle. Has some good yardage on 2nd down before he's finally brought down by number 24, Deandre Woods for New Rochelle. Ball's going to get marked at the 34-yard line. Pickup of 3 that time for Hoover. They need to get to the 29 of New Rochelle. 3rd and 5 for the Goldbacks. Daryl Johnson on the near side. Buxton, Bevier on the far side. Handed off to Sanchez. Head of steam. A nice job that time. Once again, Deandre Woods in on the tackle. Sanchez gets the ball down to the 31-yard line. And we're back to another big 4th down play for both NFA and New Rochelle. Three yards on the pickup for Sanchez. 4th and 2 for the Goldbacks from the New Rochelle 31. Wildcat formation now. Paness has replaced Hoover as the quarterback for Newberg. Straight handoff, right up the middle. Near the 1st down marker. Still getting moved. Might be enough with that extra lunge to get him the 1st down. We'll see where they mark it. It's definitely inside the 30. And it's inches once again.
This is going to be close.
And having it be a 4th down, my guess is they do get the 1st down, a big one for Paness. He picks up the needed 3 yards. 1st and 10 for the Goldbacks. They keep the drive going. 4.5 remaining here in the third quarter. Newberg trailing 15-7. Hoover in the backfield. From the shotgun, that is. Handoff to Sanchez once again. Bounces to the outside. He's got some running room. He's at the 15. He's at the 10. He's into the end zone. However, flags fly near the 20-yard line. This may come back. Just as he got to bounce out, he might have had some help. That's the way the officials are going to look at it, I believe. And it's going to be a hold. That's going to negate the touchdown run by number 23, Jaden Sanchez for the Goldbacks. I did not see the hold, however. It did happen in the area where Sanchez was able to find some running room to bounce to the outside. So it's going to be 1st down and 11. It was a spot foul on the hold, so the ball's at the 30-yard line. 1st down for the Goldbacks. Hoover, straight back to pass, over the middle. He's got a receiver. Inside the 10-yard line, 1st down for the Goldbacks. Bevier with the reception. Jay Sean Thomas with an inadvertent screen two receivers in the same spot. Bevier does a nice job of concentrating and making the haul. First and goal, Goldbacks. They are at the 8-yard line of New Rochelle. Walker now in as the running back, gains the handoff right up the middle. A nice job that time by the defensive line of the Huguenots, led by number 54, Christian Roan, and number 24, Deandre Woods. Looks like a pickup of about a yard for Walker.
It's good to see Newberg bounce back when they had the touchdown. They had it called back. The very next play, big yards up the, nice pass again up the middle and then scoring position again.
Walker in the backfield, shotgun Hoover, hands off once again. Walker looking for some running room, but he's brought down by Rhett as well as Amari Price for the Huguenots. It's going to be third down now at the 6-yard line after the 2-yard gain by Walker. You would think Hoover is going to put the ball in the air here, and this is where you got to watch Elijah Bevier, number 8. He's been the go-to guy in the end zone here for the Goldbacks. Sanchez now the running back for Newberg. Positions himself just to the right of Hoover. Buxton is at the top. Rolling to the right is Hoover. Into the end zone. Intended for Bevier, but a nice job defensively by Raiden Davis. And that's going to make it 4th down. Decision here for Coach Bianco. Do you go for the field goal or do you go for the touchdown? And there's your answer as you see number 10 coming in off the sideline. And the Goldbacks, this is their 3rd 4th down on this possession. Sanchez is the running back. He's got 2 receivers on the far side and 2 on the near side as a timeout's called by New Rochelle. Buxton, number 7, and Thomas, number 88 for the Goldbacks were positioning themselves on the far side, and the near side receivers, Bevier and Daryl Johnson, with Sanchez in the backfield. We'll see if the Goldbacks retain that formation after the timeout. We'll set the scene here for you at Academy Field on the campus of Newburgh Free Academy. At halftime, the score was 15-7, and with 2:07 remaining here in the third quarter, it is still 15-7. However, the Goldbacks looking to change that as they have a 4th and goal from their own 6, from the Huguenot 6, that is. Looking for a score to perhaps tie this ball game up. Each team has had 1 possession. This is Newberg's 2nd possession. 3 and out for Newberg to start the second half. That was followed by 3 and out for the Huguenots, and then the Goldbacks have had this nice long drive here to finish up the third quarter. And as I mentioned, 3 4th downs that they've converted on so far, and this one would provide the jackpot if they can convert. Hoover coming into the ball game. Once again, you got Buxton and Thomas on the far side, Bevier and Johnson on the near side, with Sanchez stationed as the running back to Hoover's left. Hoover into the end zone, almost intercepted. He tried to hook up with Elijah Bevier, but he forgot Lee Hester III for the Huguenot defense, and Newberg turns the ball over on downs. So once again, the Goldbacks have had several opportunities on offense, but haven't been able to convert it into points.
This is at least 3 times of missed plays, drop balls or incomplete passes that, not to mention the penalties that have killed them, that have brought back scoring, plays where, pass for touchdown scored, brought back for holding. They've had the opportunities. They're missing them.
First and 10 for Luzzy and the Huguenots. He rolls towards his right in his own end zone. Has to get rid of the football. Almost connects with DeAndre Woods on the far side. A couple of more steps here, and he would have been down on the ground for a safety.
Absolutely, very close.
The big guy checking in, number 73 for the Goldbacks, Jose Rivera. Second and 10 for the Huguenots from their own 6-yard line, and with 1:57 remaining here in the third quarter, the Goldbacks need a defensive stop to try to force New Rochelle from punting in their own end zone. Luzzy, handoff to Davis. He finds some running room. Nice job by number 9, Daryl Jackson, who's been hobbling all night long. So a nice effort by Jackson that time. Despite the 5-yard gain or 6-yard gain that time by Davis. Davis has had a nice night here for the Huguenots on the ground. Big 3rd down and 4 for both Newberg as Jackson comes off the field once again, favoring and going right to the ground, favoring that left ankle. 3rd and 4 for New Rochelle. Back to pass is Luzzy. He's got a receiver downfield at the 45, all across midfield and into Newberg territory is Lee Hester III. And once again, the Huguenots have found a way to get behind that NFA secondary, and it results in a first down. 3rd and 4, deep in their own territory, and Luzzy and Hester III connect all the way into the Newberg 45-yard line. Just about a 40-yard reception there for Hester III. 1st and 10, New Rochelle. Handoff to Davis, right up the middle, and all of a sudden they found some holes in the running game as well. First down on the carry by Davis, and in just 2 plays, the Huguenots go from their own 12-yard line into the 33-yard line of the Goldbacks. That first play after that long pass, Ed, it looked like somewhat of a dejected Newberg defense.
Yeah, those big plays take it right out of you. I mean, 3rd and 4, you stop them, you think you're going to get the ball back, and next thing you know, they're down in your territory and knocking on the door to put some more points on the board.
It's a late flag there. It looks like some roughhousing going on between players after Davis had about a 1-yard gain on the play. We'll see where they mark the football and what the call is on the flags. But some extracurricular activity as the officials huddle up to try to figure out how they're going to call this. There is no time left on the clock, so this will end the 3rd quarter. A scoreless quarter for both teams, with Newberg knocking on the door, not being able to convert, in New Rochelle following suit now as they're driving deep into Newberg territory to start the 4th quarter. Ed Estrada along with Ed Diller, George Diller on camera, are bringing you all of the action here at Academy Field in Newburgh, New York on week 0, as they call it now in football in New York State, with the extra week being granted by the New York State Public High School Athletic Association. Here's the call by the official, a personal foul that's going to be called against New Rochelle, and one also to be called against Newberg, so they'll offset.
Personal fouls against both teams. They are offsetting at the end of the 3rd quarter. The play will stop.
So a game that you normally would see in the playoff system between New Rochelle and Newberg, both of these teams are traditionally make deep playoff runs in New York State in Class AA. As both teams will now switch fields. sides of the fields, that is. New Rochelle heads to Carmel, or heads home to face Carmel next week in Section 1. Carmel coming off a state championship. They won that pretty decisively last year. That included a win during the regular season against New Rochelle that the Huguenots are going to hope to get back. Second down for the Huguenots. About 11 yards to go. They're in Newberg territory. The ball is placed at the 34-yard line. Luzzy back to pass. Off the fake to Davis. Going downfield. Got a receiver in the end zone and off the tip of his hands. On the far side is number 8.
He had him again.
Corey Dawson. He got behind that secondary.
Yep.
That has been an issue for the Goldbacks all day. And you know head coach Billy Bianco is going to be stressing that throughout the week as they head up to Corning to face Corning Painted Post. And the good thing is they have a couple of weeks before they get into Section 9 play to try to figure this out. Third down and 11 for the Huguenots after Luzzy missed on the connection with Dawson in the end zone. New Rochelle now calls a timeout here as the play clock was dwindling down. But Newberg definitely, from a defensive standpoint, their one weakness so far this evening has been the secondary. Meanwhile, offensively, for Newberg, they've been able to drive the football for most of the evening, just haven't been able to convert. They missed on a 27-yard field goal off of a bad snap on their opening series, and then missed on a fourth down, had several opportunities in their second possession of the second half to put some points on the board, but they just weren't able to push it across the line. We're coming off of the timeout. It's going to be 3rd and 11 for New Rochelle at the Newberg 34. They need to get inside the 23 to extend the drive. Luzzy, the senior quarterback captain for the Huguenots. On the near side's number 4, Jordan Clark. Davis just to his right. Dawson has got to get the handoff. He's at the 35 trying to cut it upfield. A nice job by that Newberg defense, stopping him dead cold at about the 32-yard line, and it's going to bring up 4th down. 4th and 9 for New Rochelle from the Newberg 32-yard line. Man, Ed, we've seen a lot of 4th downs here.
There are a lot of them.
Newberg was able to convert 3 of their 4 4th downs on their last drive. Unfortunately, the last one is the one that cost them some points. Clark this time is on the far side, set up as a receiver. That's Davis, the lone running back behind Luzzy, who rolls to his left off the fake. Downfield, he's got a receiver. Did he come down with the ball inbounds? No. Nice job on the far sideline by that Newberg defense. Looked like number 8, Corey Dawson, was the intended receiver. The ball deflected up, and it looks like he came down with the ball, but he was out of bounds at that point.
Yeah, it looked like he was bobbling it on his way out. He didn't have control of it.
So good job by Newberg. Bend but don't break. That's the old saying.
They needed that. They gave up points there. It was going to be a very hard road back.
And as we mentioned, the Goldbacks have done a nice job actually driving on most of their possessions. We'll see if they can do it again. Rolling to his right is Hoover. He's got a receiver. That's Thomas at the 40, the 45, up near midfield. A nice little play, finding some room for Hoover. And a nice job that time by number 88 for the Goldbacks, Jay Sean Thomas, results in a first down in midfield. First and 10 for Newberg. 11 and a half remaining. New Rochelle leads the Goldbacks 15-7. Bevier in motion. Little problem with the exchange. It almost looked like Hoover wanted to hand the ball off and then hold it back to throw it downfield. But he fumbled the football. Luckily, he fell right back on it, but unfortunately loses 5 on the play. Second and 15 for Newberg. Make it 16, second and 16 from their own 44. 3 timeouts remaining in this ball game for the Goldbacks, 1 for the Huguenots. Straight back to pass is Hoover. Brings the ball back down. He's going to run it himself up the middle. There's a flag on the play. Might be a hold. And that's exactly what it's going to be for the Goldbacks. And what looked so promising after that play up to midfield. And the 2 subsequent plays, a fumble, costing him 6 yards and now 10 yards on the hold. And the Goldbacks are deep in the hole once again. Second and 28 now for Newberg. And the Goldbacks are going to need somebody to step up here on offense to try to make a big play. Their big playmaker, number 81, Deandre Johnson, sidelined by a shoulder injury for this ball game against New Rochelle. Gets rid of the ball quickly, tries to get Bevier to make a play, and he does at the 40 and makes up a lot of ground on the near sideline, steps out of bounds at about the 44. But at least he gives Newberg an opportunity, and really, Bevier has been the key man for Newberg here on offense, and a nice play call by Coach Bianco in trying to get the ball out of Hoover's hands quickly and into the hands of their playmaker, Bevier. On the far side, you've got Nikkei Johnson and Jay Sean Thomas. Bevier's on the near side. Straight back to pass is Hoover. He's looking downfield. He gets a rush. He's going to have to keep the football, gets it inside the 50-yard line. As Bevier was covered downfield, we'll see where they mark the football, but at least it gives Newberg a manageable 4th down. Coach Bianco talking to Hoover, or are they going to punt? It looks like they're going to punt now, which was the decision that wasn't made at the end of the first half. They're going to try to pin back the Huguenots.
Pretty much the same area of the field. And, you know, again, if you don't complete the pass, they have the ball on the short, just short of midfield.
Low kick, good Newberg
Great
bounce,
punt. Great punt.
all the way down near the 10-yard line before it's finally downed by the Goldbacks. And that's exactly what Coach Bianco would have wanted, pinning back the Huguenots on their own 10-yard line. Plenty of time left here for Newberg with 9.5 remaining in regulation. Goldbacks trailing the Huguenots. And so far, everything's done well to pin them back. Now you just got to worry about that Newberg secondary with a big field and making sure nobody gets behind the secondary.
Absolutely. And you know what? New Rochelle's been doing it at will. Whenever they decide to go deep, they've had people wide open and had scoring opportunities from it.
We'll see if they hand off the ball to Davis deep in their own zone. That's exactly what they do. Right up the middle, and a nice tackle that time by Newberg's number 73, Jose Rivera, with the stop. Davis picks up about 3 yards on the play. It's going to bring up 2nd and 7. Ball marked at the 13-yard line of New Rochelle. Go back fans a little bit apprehensive. Luzzy from the shotgun. Davis once again off the handoff. This time he tries the far side of the field. A nice job that time by Jay-Sean Thomas for the Goldbacks. Going to mark him just about 1.5 yards short of the first down. Going to bring up a big third down play here for this Newberg defense. Gosh, defensively, a lot of things to think about here. The secondary's got to make sure they play honest here. But you would think the play call may be Davis, who's had some nice gainers here on this possession. Third and about 1.5 yards deep in their own territory for New Rochelle. Davis with the handoff up the middle. He's stopped by number 99, Nathan Scalfari.
Looks like he's got
But
it.
he's got enough for the New Rochelle first down. Got to keep going with what works for you. And for the Huguenots, Raiden Davis has been a workhorse on the ground, getting some very tough yards. That has really, what that's resulted in is opened up the passing game for the Huguenots. Now that they have some additional room in their own side of the field, we'll see if they start to air it out here with 7:40 remaining. Going back to pass, looking downfield, one-on-one coverage, nice job. It was intended for number 3, Rastafari Anderson. A good job that time by Nikkei Johnson on one-on-one coverage. Just as I thought, once they gained some additional room back there, they threw the football. Now that they tested it in one-on-one, didn't work. My guess is they may go right back to the ground here on the next play. 2nd down and 10 from their own 23-yard line for the Huguenots. Handoff to Davis. Cuts it back inside. Still on his feet before he's finally brought down by number 3, Carl Shaw, but a good gainer that time on the second effort by Raiden Davis. 3rd down and 2 for Davis. Picked up 8 on that carry. Third and 2, another big play. We've had many of them here in the second half in this nail biter. Rolling to his right is Luzzy. Over the middle, he finds a receiver. What a job by the senior quarterback, Luzzy. Finding number 4, Jordan Clark on the reception. Enough for a New Rochelle first down, and more importantly, the Huguenots gain another 4 set of downs. As the clock continues to run, 6.5 remaining. New Rochelle leading Newberg 15-7. Clark and Hester the third on the near side. Handoff this time to number 9. Some fresh set of legs for the Huguenots and a good gainer on first down that time. Looks like number 9, Chris Maple. Pickup of 8 yards on the play by Maple. 2nd and 2 for New Rochelle. The ball's placed just short of the 45 at the 44. Now you're in that type of short yardage area where they might try something downfield. And we have a timeout. That's going to be the last timeout of the ball game for New Rochelle. So we'll set the scene for you here at Academy Field in Newburgh, New York, on the campus of Newburgh Free Academy. two of the state's most powerful or historically powerful football programs in Class AA, Newberg and New Rochelle. We mentioned earlier this evening that New Rochelle has made it to the finals in 14 times since 2000, an amazing track record. Their last state championship in 2019 was their third in school history. Coach Ray Red Jr. doing a nice job down in New Rochelle, taking over from a coaching legend in Lou DiRienzo, and just keeping that Huguenot football program marching forward. Fell short last year to Carmel, but most of the teams fell short to Carmel. They really ran roughshod throughout the state on their way to a state championship. Newberg's done well holding their own here against the Huguenots, despite not having one of their top offensive players in Deandre Johnson, who's out with a shoulder injury. 2nd and 2 for the Huguenots, their own 44-yard line. The pitch. Enough, looks like, for a first down on the far side. And the officials make the signal. Number 6, Davis, had the first down carry. Some back and forth going on between Newberg and New Rochelle on the far sideline. No flags, though. Some innocent play. 1st and 10 for the Huguenots. A great drive that started.
He's coming off again, limping.
Yep. It's about the 4th time, but you got to give him a lot of credit. He keeps going out there trying to compete. And he's been in on several tackles for the Goldbacks. 1st and 10. Huguenots at the 47-yard line. Davis, once again, no need to do anything else if you can run the football and keep the clock running with an 8-point lead. They're going to mark the ball at the 49. 4-yard gain, making it 2nd and 6.
And remember, the clock's running with 4.5 minutes left. New Rochelle put up, 6 points and a 2-point conversion. So it's not 7 that the Goldbacks need. They need 8.
And it wasn't a planned 2-point conversion. It was a fake kick. Jackson back into the ball game, replacing number 27, Matthew Patterson. 2nd and 6 for the Huguenots in Goldback territory. Davis once again up the middle this time. The Newberg defensive line does a nice job stopping him and limiting him to a 1-yard gain. A long 3rd and 4 for the Huguenots, and this is pretty much where the Goldbacks need to make a stand here. You figure on 4th down, if it remains the same, the Huguenots may punt the football and try to pin him back deep with an 8-point lead, but Goldbacks got to stop him first. Luzzy looking downfield, one-on-one coverage, incomplete. No flag on the play. Nice job defensively by Jason Johnson. Ball was intended for number 8, Corey Dawson. That's going to bring up 4th down and a big decision here for the New Rochelle coaching staff. They do not have a timeout remaining, so they're going to have to make this decision quickly. Looks like they're going to punt the football, though Luzzy's coming out. Once again, I'm guessing very similar. And now Newberg calls timeout in the confusion. That's a good timeout by Coach Bianco.
Very smart timeout.
He had sent out his punt return team, and this time Luzzy came into the game. So not sure if Coach Rhett for the Huguenots was maybe trying to entice the timeout and cost the Goldbacks that extra stoppage, or whether or not they're truly going to just decide to throw the ball downfield.
Right.
And if it gets intercepted, it's as good as a punt.
But you know what? Either way, good. Either way, it's a good decision to burn the timeout on Newberg. make New Rochelle think about the decision that they made to go for it on fourth down.
And I got to
You
give
know,
this
again,
credit.
you give the ball back to Newberg halfway.
But Ed, what you mentioned earlier in the first half, got to give credit to our public address announcer, Mr. Matt Lawrence, who came over and reminded me that perhaps it's because they don't want to punt the football. They've almost had 2 of them blocked in
Correct.
this game.
Correct. Absolutely.
So that kind of changes your ability or what you want to do here. And what would seem like an obvious punting decision gets changed because of your inability possibly to defend those rushers.
The rush, right.
So we'll see what Coach Rhett does here. I do see Luzzy out there, and I think they're thinking heave the ball downfield. If they intercept,
you either get
it's
a
as
penalty,
good.
you get the penalty, you get the ball downfield.
The only downside is what happened to Newberg at the end of the first half.
Nobody touches
If
the
it's
ball,
an
it drops.
incomplete pass, then the goalbacks have half the
Newberg
field
gets
back.
the ball at midfield.
Instead, they're going to hand the ball over. And it's going to be a first down for New Rochelle. A gutsy call by Coach Rhett. He hands the ball off to Corey Dawson, and he's got enough, what looks like to be a New Rochelle first down.
Nobody saw that coming. Nobody saw that coming, including Newberg. They didn't see that coming.
What a call by Coach Rhett on that Huguenot sideline. It results in a first down. Newberg had to exhaust a timeout in addition to that. And so it's going to be first down and what's likely to be a lot of feeding the football to number 6, Raiden Davis. Oh, and it's a fumbled snap. Davis does a nice job to just fall on the football at the 48, and almost a nightmare scenario for the Huguenots.
That could have went bad real quick.
Bringing back memories of Herman Edwards and the Eagles back in the late 70s against the Giants. The old, what we called the butt fumble.
Yep.
It'll be a timeout here by the Goldbacks. That's going to be their second. It'll leave them with 1. But it's a good timeout because the Huguenots just lost a lot of yardage on that fumble. 15-7, New Rochelle over Newberg. That was our score at halftime. Both teams have driven to each other's side of the field, but have not come up with any points. New Rochelle took over this possession with about, how much time, Ed? I thought it was about 6 minutes remaining.
It was roughly around 6 minutes, yes.
Yeah. On this possession, deep in their own territory, and have done an outstanding job to get it into the Newberg side of the field before fumbling that last snap. The ball has been placed on the Newberg 48-yard line. Second down for New Rochelle. They need to get to the Newberg 27 for a first down, so they need about 21 yards for a first down, but more importantly for the Huguenots, they just want to keep the clock running here. Luzzy from the shotgun. Back to pass is Luzzy, rolling to his left, looking downfield and throws it out of bounds. A little bit of a surprise there because now Newberg doesn't have to spend a timeout and the clock stops.
They stop the clock and they keep a timeout.
So the Huguenots, they lose it down on the incomplete pass. They stop the clock as the Newberg fans try to cheer on their defense for one big stop here. And really that play was a little baffling because of the fact that the clock stops and Newberg didn't have to waste a timeout. Now they can use the timeout here no matter what happens. Hand off to Davis, which is what we thought they might do. Tackled on the play by Jay-Sean Thomas. The Goldbacks will likely use their last timeout, and they do, and it's going to be 4th and long. And we'll see what happens here on this punt. As we've mentioned throughout, 2 earlier punt attempts literally went through the hands of some Goldback would-be blockers. We'll see if they bring everybody to try to block the kick and leave back nobody to return the punt, or whether they'll actually try to return it. Number 84 will be in to kick the football, to punt the football. That's Andre Morales. He's done a great job just getting the ball off. Back to receive the punt for Newberg. On the near side is Jaden Sanchez, and on the far side, Joseph Alicea. They're going to station themselves at their own 15-yard line. Morales
And it looks
looks
like
to
they're
get the
sending
football.
everybody.
Yep. He looks to punt the football. Almost blocked again. Might have been tipped. The referee says it was tipped, but a favorable bounce by the Huguenots inside the Newberg 20. Man, oh man. Where we've talked about the fact that Coach Bianco will need to work on that Newberg secondary. Coach Red on the other side of the field is going to have to be
Needs to work
working
on
on
the punting
special
game.
teams. Yeah.
Absolutely.
2:28 remaining. New Rochelle 15, Newberg 7. The Goldbacks have the football. Their last chance to try to tie this ball game up. 1st and 10 on their own 18-yard line. No timeouts remaining for either team. Just what you can expect from a New Rochelle and Newberg football game. Sometimes it hasn't been the prettiest game, but nevertheless, it's a close matchup, which is what we expected. Hoover from the shotgun. That's Walker in the running back position. He's going back to pass, gets it over to Walker on the near side, who drops the football, looking to run upfield before he had gotten possession of the football.
You got to catch it first.
2nd and 10 for the Goldbacks, 2:24 remaining. Down by 8, 2nd and 10 from the 18. This Newberg crowd just sitting back, waiting for something to happen, a big play. And typically for the Goldbacks, it would be number 8, Elijah Bevier, if there's going to be something happening big.
They've been quiet with, probably the last 7 minutes of the second quarter. They have been, very quiet.
Buxton and Bevier on the near side, and that's where Hoover's looking, trying to find somebody. He's going to have to hold on to the football. He's at the 20. The 25 gets along the sideline before he's finally brought out of bounds, but not before he ends up with a Newberg first down. That'll keep the possession running. The clock will stop at 2:13. Nice job by Hoover, recognizing that he needed to get out of bounds once he had gotten the first down yardage. First and 10 Goldbacks, their own 32-yard line. Clock now at 2:13. That New Rochelle secondary, very loose, trying to make sure nobody gets behind them. Trips receiver on the near side for the Goldbacks. Hoover back to pass. It's a short pass to Bevier on the near sideline. And he does what he does, which is elude would-be tacklers. That's not Bevier, my apologies. That's Jay-Sean Thomas, who's also had a great game here for the Goldbacks. He picks up 7 on the play, 2nd and 3 from the 39. Clock runs at 1:50. Handoff, Walker at the 40, gets enough for the first down. But looked like the ball might have come loose, but it did not. Clock will stop on the first down. Once the down markers get set, it'll restart. We have 1:43 remaining. 1st and 10 Goldbacks. They're at their own 45-yard line. Bevier and Buxton are the receivers on the near side. Thomas is on the inside slot. Now he motions over towards the right side. Back to pass is Hoover. On the near side, just didn't have enough on the pass to get it to Thomas, who would have had some running room had he come down with the football. No harm there for the Goldbacks, though. The clock stops with 1:34. As we mentioned, with each first down, the clock will stop with a temporary time stoppage of play until the yardage markers get set. 2nd and 10, 5 seconds left on the play clock. They need to get this one off very quickly, and they do. Hoover rolling towards his left, and that play, a sack that time by number 22, Jonah Ella, a flag on the play. We're going to see what the call is here. It looked like the flag came down. The helmet did come off of Hoover. I'm not sure if perhaps that might be the call on a high hit, or whether the Newberg sideline was unhappy that there wasn't a call and maybe the call was placed against them. We'll find out here. Yep, and that's exactly what it was, unsportsmanlike conduct against the Goldbacks. My guess is that they were not very happy, and again, this is a guess on my part. I don't think they were happy with the hit, with the helmet flying off, and complained to the near sideline judge, and the flag came flying. So that is a devastating, and there's another flag, and now the Goldbacks have lost control a little bit on the sideline and have really put themselves in a bind here. The Newberg fans showing their displeasure for the two flags, but you can understand maybe the first flag, but you can't understand when your team is trying to drive.
No, you
for a tie.
basically just took them out of the game.
Yeah.
Your sideline just basically lost the game for your team.
So a drive that had a first down on it, and really the rush to the line as the play clock was running down forced Hoover to take a quicker snap than he wanted to. He was a little bit discombobulated because of it. The line got sacked.
The offensive line was discombobulated.
Correct.
You know, and they busted through the line. They got a hold of him. It was a hard hit, absolutely.
I did not, when I first saw it, I did not think it was a high hit. I think when he came down, the helmet came down because it was a hard hit, not a high hit.
I'm not saying high. I'm saying hard.
Correct.
You know, I didn't see the intention there.
So we'll see what happens here. Hoover way back to pass. Obviously, he's going to have to go deep down the sideline, and nobody is getting behind that secondary for New Rochelle. Almost with the interception for the Huguenots in the secondary was number 8, Corey Dawson, who's had a great game for the Huguenots. Had he come down with the interception, this one would have been over. As it is, it's a 4th down and forever.
I think with a minute left, I think, 4th down, ball on their 10-yard line. It's pretty much over.
We need one of these miracles if you're the Goldbacks. So a lot to be.
We have a New Rochelle party down too.
Yep. We'll see who that is. It looks to be number 78, I believe.
Yeah, he's up.
Deshaun Benitez, one of the senior captains. We hope it's not serious, so he can take part in next week's game against Carmel for the Huguenots, who are about to get their first win of the season if they can hold the Goldbacks here on 4th down. Hoover back to pass. Buxton with the reception on the near sideline at the 20, trying to find some room. He's tripped up essentially by his own player. Came into contact with number 59, Christian Bertrand. And that'll be it for the Goldbacks. They will turn the ball over on downs. The Huguenots will have the football at the Newberg 27-yard line, and all they need to do is kneel twice, and this game will be over. Both teams have some positives and both teams with some negatives here in the first game of the year.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Newberg secondary, they got to work on that. New Rochelle special teams definitely need some work.
And the one thing that New Rochelle did improve on in the second half was all of the penalty yardage they gave up in the second. That'll be the first knee. They'll have to take one more as we finish up this football game. We want to thank everybody. I want to thank Ed Diller, along with George Diller, and Matt Lawrence, our public address announcer, for joining us at halftime in our opening week on 845 Sports Nation. Again, if you want to see the replay of this game between Newberg and New Rochelle, head on over to www.845sportsnation.com. One more kneel down by Luzzy, the senior captain quarterback for the Huguenots. And New Rochelle will march off Academy Field with an opening week win against the Goldbacks. Something tells me you may see these two teams again down the road.
I think we're going to see them again later in the season.
Yep. So that'll do it here at Newberg. Your final score, New Rochelle 15, the Goldbacks of Newberg 7. I'm Ed Estrada along with Ed Diller and George Diller signing off from Academy Field here in Newberg. Thank you for joining us on 845 Sports Nation.
Looking for exceptional yet affordable live streaming services for your corporate or sports event? Then we've got you covered. At New View Multimedia, we specialize in live streaming and photography services that are designed to make your event a success. Utilizing the latest technology, we ensure that your live video reaches your audience in the highest quality, no matter where they watch. And with our beautiful editing and incredibly fast turnaround times, we ensure you can quickly market your product with confidence. Just visit newviewmultimedia.com today to learn more about how our customized solutions can work for you.